Hello class 8, we will do the chapter Colonial Establishment of Colonial Authority, that is chapter 3 from your history syllabus, and this is the second video of the chapter. In the earlier video we have learned about the various acts that had been passed by the British government to control the company's growing power in India and also to help them found the basis or help them to establish the foundation of British administration in India. And today we will learn about the various pillars of British administration, that is about the civil service, the army and the judicial organization.
The administration in India depended on some pillars, we call them, and these pillars of administration was the civil service, the army, and the judicial organization. In the beginning of the establishment of colonial rule, that is when the company was slowly establishing its authority in India, there was no civil service in the structure of administration. Means there was no provision of having a civil service. The company's officials were helping the company of the to establish their authority in India. They were looking after trade and also on the expansion of power of the company in India. Lord Cornwallis, he was called the father of the Indian civil service. He initiated or he started this system of civil service in India. Now, what was the civil service actually? The civil service was the officials who were specially appointed or recruited, we can say, for the purpose of administration. They were given proper training, and after training they used to look after the administration in India. Now these initially what happened is they were chosen from the what we can say the close persons of the company's directors. Means those who were in the company's directors, their relatives were appointed as the civil servants, so the officials. But later on, we find that the British government introduced the system of giving them proper training, and so that they can take up the administration, look after the administration better. And for this purpose, they were given training in the Hailbury College in London, which was founded in 1806 for the purpose of giving training to the civil servants. And these officials who were appointed by the British government for the purpose of administration, they were the ones who looked after the company's administration in India. And the civil service was called the steel frame of British rule. There was not a sing, but we have to keep in mind that there was no Indian in the civil service of the company up to 1857. That is, up to 1857, only the British were given the job of the civil servants. They were allowed to work in the civil service, but the Indians were not allowed. And the process of recruiting the civil servants was quite tough also, because they had to go through examinations and then they would be selected, and then after that they would undergo a training. So that was the civil service. The next important pillar of the colonial authority in India was the army. The army was absolutely necessary for the company's empire and trade, that is for the purpose of trade and also for establishing the company's authority in India. And the army also helped in conquering the native states of India and also suppressing the internal revolts, which you will read about afterwards. But the army that the company had consisted of soldiers who were Indians. That is, there were Indian soldiers also, but all the officers were British. And the condition of the Indian soldiers were not good at all. In fact, it was very bad and painful, though the number of Indian soldiers was more in the company. But even then, their condition was not uh, very good. They were not given less salary, whereas the British soldiers were given more salary. The higher posts were always reserved for the British officers only, for the British. And so that even then, that helped, the army helped, in fact, the company and later on the British government to establish and also to maintain the colonial administration. The third main pillar of the administration, we can say, was the judicial organization. Now, judicial organization, when the company took over the power in India, they needed to establish some rules and regulation, that is, some laws. But when they had taken over the power, they had seen that there were various laws. So they wanted to reform it. So they wanted to change it and give it a proper shape that would help them to control the people and also to control the administration. Now, Warren Hastings, he reformed both Diwani and Fauzdari courts, and a civil and a Diwani or a Fauzdari court was built in each district. The district collector was given responsibility of the Diwani court, and a local chief was given Fauzdari activities. The Warren Hastings took up the initiative of reforming the judicial organization. There was a civil, there was a Diwani court and a Fauzdari court. In every district it was built. The district collector looked after the looked after the Diwani court, and the local chief was given the responsibility of the Fauzdari activities. Sadar Diwani Adalat and Sadar Nizamat Adalat were also built in Calcutta to judge both civil and criminal offenders. The judges were given good salary so that they can never be corrupted. To compile Hindu-Muslim laws and customs, 10 Hindu scholars, Muslim Qazi and Mufti were appointed for the codification of laws. Now, what does that mean? That is, they wanted to codify, that is, write down the laws, the Hindu laws and the Muslim laws that were there in India. And for this purpose, the Hindu scholars, Muftis and Qazis were appointed, and village diwan and fauzdari courts were built under the supervision of the committee of circuit. So they wanted to actually give a proper shape to the judicial organization that was present in India. First they tried to codify or write down the laws that were there. There were Hindu laws and Muslim laws also. For this, for the purpose of codification of laws, they appointed Hindu scholars and also Muslim Qazi and Mufti. Then also the Diwani and a Fauzdari court was established in each district of the company's area of control, we can say. And there was Sadar Diwani Adalat and Sadar Nizamat Adalat were built in Calcutta to judge both civil and criminal offenders. And we also see that village Diwani and Fauzdari courts were built under the supervision of Committee of Circuit. Along with that, British observers were appointed for each and every court. Means there were observers, British observers who would look into the matter, who would observe everything was going on fine or not. And the Supreme Court of Calcutta was established in 1774. This is date is important for you. And the first Chief Judge of the Supreme Court of India was Sir Eliza Impe. He was the first Chief Judge of the Supreme Court. And the district judges, they supervise the civil court. So a Supreme Court was also established with a Chief Justice, we can say, a Chief Judge, and the first Chief Judge of the Supreme Court was Sir Eliza Impe. And along with that, we find that Cornwallis, he codified a law book known as Cornwallis Code in 1793. That is, he wrote down or codified the laws that were present, which came to be known as the Cornwallis Code, and this was done in the year 1793. Another important pillar of the administrative structure in India was the police organization. The police department organization was set up by Lord Cornwallis, and he brought some changes in it. First, he established a separate police department. Each district was divided into some police stations, and a police superintendent was appointed to each police station, under whom many constables were kept. And the police superintendent of each district was answerable or was responsible to the district magistrate. That is, they had to give their record, or they have to tell whatever they were doing to the district magistrate. And 10% of the recaptured properties was given to the police superintendent to encourage them and to make them more responsible towards their work. So we find this structure was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. So these pillars, that is the civil service, the army, the judiciary and the police, helped on establish the administrative structure, or this established administration in colonial administration in India. they helped the British government, or first the company and then the British government, to exercise and also to expand their power and authority in India.